Hey guys, Bam here. So today I want to show you the Atlas strategy I've been working on in the last few days, and for me it's been super rewarding and also a lot of fun. So I'm happy to share it with you. So I've been working with Abysses, and this is all the Scarabs I've been using. It's worth noting that the more modifier you have on your map, meaning like here we have 6 modifier or here 8 modifier, the better the result will be. But you have to keep in mind that more modifier means more rippy, so keep that in check. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, now let's talk about these scarabs. So first off, we have two abyss scarabs. Each of those will add an additional abyss. And on the map device, we're using abyss. For 4 chaos, we get 2 additional abysses. So in total, 4 minimum, plus the chances of getting some more from the Atlas tree. We'll talk about it later. So yeah, and then as I said, this is our base. Then we use an abyss scarab of edifice. So there's two lines in there. Abysses in area do not lead to an abyss depth lead to a Stygian spire. So normally we want to skip abyssal depth. I'll talk a bit about it a bit later, but you can run them if you want. But the most important part is getting the Stygian spire. And abysses in area spawn hordes as they travel. This is the most important part of the whole strategy, as hordes are like chests for abysses, and this is most of our loot will come from those chests. Okay, so the hordes. So this is super important. You must have this scarab. Next, we have here cartography scarab of escalation. 10% increased map found in area for each map modifier affecting the area. That's why I was talking about. Like here we have 6 modifier, but 8 modifier is even better because we will just get more maps when we do this. And yeah, with this strategy you will over sustain for sure, so you actually want to sell some of your maps. And this is the reason why we're using an influencing scarab of conversion. That way, whenever we drop some maps, we have a chance of changing into a shaper, elder, conqueror, or a unique synthesized map. Alright, next, let's take a look at the atlas. So I've tested a bunch of different stuff, and this is what I end up with. I might work some more onto it, but yeah, it's been working great for me. So as you can see, we travel until we get all the abysses nodes, but we'll skip some of them. Okay, so travel until there, we got some shrines we want here. So your maps have 2% chance to contain an abyss per 2% increased pack size. As I said, the more juice your map is, the more abysses you will get. And yeah, we get all those nodes that we travel around, so the plus chance to get at the tier higher. So here, I didn't pick up this one, I could have, but so shaping the mountains, I picked up this, those nodes, sorry, 5% chance to get one tier higher, and especially this one. And yeah, the reason why, as I said, is we will be getting a lot of maps, so we want to make sure we get them as high tier as possible. So yeah, then you have to keep in mind that with the Scarabs we're using, it can turn them into Shaper, Elder, Conqueror, or unique synthesized maps. So yeah, why we picked those, and then we went for full shrine support. So all shrine nodes. Well, the reason why is that it can get pretty rippy with the abysses. It also gives you a bunch of willpower. Most of the time, we'll be picking up the shrines because it's super useful in my opinion. And yeah, then we have the Eater of World Influence. So we picked up pretty much every single nodes that will help us. We don't need this. Just dropping the items doesn't matter, and getting more progress towards the Eater of World invitation doesn't really matter. But aside of that, we'll get everything gives us more pack size because we want to pick up all the altars that give us increased quantity and rarity. Then the most important note about all this whole strategy is this, in my opinion, because this is where all the gambles will come from. So Abyssal Jewels found in Abyssal Troves or dropped by Stygian Spires in your maps have 20% chance to be corrupted and have 5 or 6 random modifiers. So if you get lucky and actually get a bunch of modifiers that are like similar and goes in the same build, you can drop some Abyss Jewel that sell for upwards of 50 divines. It's not always the case, but it can happen. And if not, personally, I drop them in a 1.5 divine tab, and I get a sale every once in a while. Uh, yeah, of course, if you know the meta, if you know what people are playing, it's easier to identify what is worth something. But if not, just drop them in whatever is the price you're willing to sell them at, and people will sort them for you. Oh, yeah, just sell them for a profit. It's okay if you undersell. As I always say, it's better to have a guaranteed sale than a maybe, and at the end of the league, you just keep the item. Yeah, okay. And here we have Scarabs are more likely to be less common, Verity, of course. And here we pick up every single point because, yeah, the whole strategy is about Abyss. Yeah, you can see. And yeah, this is pretty much it. The rest is quantity nodes, Scarab nodes. And here we have increased explicit modifier of your maps per quality. And those are like whatever nodes. You could be picking some other stuff like the increase the quantity of Scarabs. Doesn't really matter. If you wanted, you could pick up this instead. It's fine too. But for my testing, those were the nodes that were worth. You will get a bunch of Scarabs. Of course, not a lot of the best ones because it is what it is. The only one I actually picked up for more likely is the ambush Scarabs. But you could uh, pick some others, and depending on whenever you see this video, maybe the ambush Scarabs are no longer worth and there's something better. But yeah, this is what I'm working with right now. Okay, one thing I didn't pick up is the note here that Abyss monsters in your maps have 50% grants 50% increased experience. The sole reason why I didn't pick it up is because I'm level 100. But it's super good. If you want some EXP, this is really a good way to go about it. The other node that you could pick is this. Abyssal Troves and Siege Empires in your maps have 20% chance to drop a rare with an Abyssal Socket. The reason why I don't pick it is there's so many bases, and whenever you want a item with Abyss Socket, you want like the best of the best bases. And since they added so many bases this league, I think the chance of getting it are pretty rare, so I would rather use it with fossils. So this is in my opinion, but if you want, you can pick it up. As I said, we have some nodes that are whatever, like those that add Scarabs and those. So it's pretty flexible. You could change it a bit. All right, now what map should you be using this strategy on? Well, the best bet for your buck is actually Lighthouse, as for some reason the Decision Spires bug in there. They're trying to go up or down the stage, and pretty much they have to work around it. So they will spawn way more hordes than any other map. But personally, I prefer running more maps, and I don't actually run the Lighthouse. As you can see, it will generate a bunch of horde. So the more horde, the more loot. But at some point, it gets like so big that you have to come back and actually drop whatever you picked up and then do it again. And it takes a while to do this. So I'd rather just do two quick maps instead of like one Lighthouse. But as I said, it's the one that takes the less investment, because whatever you invest into your map, you will have way more hordes, meaning way more loot. But then again, it takes more time, so it's up to you. Personally, I prefer running smaller maps. Like for me personally, this league it's been Dune because I already tried it with the file cathedral, meaning it can drop me in apothecary card. But yeah, whatever feels good for you. Also keep in mind the T17 that drops from your map is super important, as it is a big chunk of the profit you will be getting from this strategy. So yeah, try to get one that actually drop a useful one. The reason why I really like Dune is that it drops Fortress map, and Lighthouse drops Ziggurat map, which are both at 80 chaos right now. Alright, about the Abyssal Depth, personally I skip them. The reason why is that it doesn't give much, and since the boss has so many phases, it takes a while to do. As you can see here, I'm waiting for the doors to open and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but early maybe it's better because some of his uniques are actually worth it. Right now, unless you get like a perfect unique belt, like with 100% increased explicit modifier of your abyssal jewels, is pretty much not worth anything. So yeah, right now I would say skip it. Early maybe it's worth, but yeah, I did, as you can see here, I did do a couple of them, and it was a total waste of time personally. But I mean, if you want to do it, this is something you can do. I prefer skipping them. You can see another face again. So yeah, it takes a while to do, and at the end, you're not even sure you're going to make profit. As instead of this, you could be making like running half a map. And now this is the last phase, and you will see like it gives us two of his uniques, but we'll see. It's the roll of the belt, and if you look at it, decision advice. Look, it's 53%, so pretty much a waste, and same thing for the helmet. So yeah, I don't think you should be wasting your time doing the Abyssal Depth. Alright, now, where does the profit come from? Well, first off, we'll get a bunch of T17, and also some of the influence maps. So keep in mind with the Scarab that gives us a chance to transform the map into a Shaper, Elder, Conqueror, or Unique Synthesized maps. It will give us a bunch of those. As I said, since we over sustain maps, and a part of them will be transferred into those, so this is a huge part of our profit. So yeah, T17. Also, we get a bunch of Valdo's puzzle box, some Voidbone reliquary keys, some raw divines, exalt, stuff like that. We get a bunch of them. Also, Eldritch currency. But yeah, those are kind of random. But the T17 and the influence maps plus the like memories will drop a shit ton of them. So as you can see, here I have a lot of them. The reason why I have fewer of the Crusader, or not a Crusader, the Conquerors ones is that I'm using them. But aside of that, you can see like 14, 25, 25, 24, 40 some of those. So yeah, I didn't sell any of them just yet, but this is a huge part of our currency. And plus the ETL17. And then we have all the Stygian Vice plus the Abyssal Sockets. So all those jewels. Sometimes you will get 5 or 6 mods. As you can see here, this is 5 mods. Sadly, this is a kind of a bad one because it's all over the place. But yeah, you can get something good. The reason why we get Abyssal Sockets with 5 or 6 implicit, not implicit, explicit modifier is because of this node. So yeah, sometimes you will sell them for a bunch, sometimes just for like a couple of chaos or a divine and a half. As I said, this is where I drop it. Now I cut it to 1.4 divine, but yeah. And I will get a message every once in a while. And if you can actually identify what is worth from those, it's even better because sometimes if you get, let's say, a bunch of attack damage to claws and life, plus like let's say accuracy on it, it can be worth like 40, 50 divine, whatever, depending on what the mods are, like what tier of the mods they are. So yeah, as I said, if you don't know, just drop them in whatever is fine with you. One divine tab, two divine, whatever it feels like, and it will be added bonus to your currency per hour. I didn't do the calculation from it, but I would estimate it between 10 to 12 divine an hour. Just straight up from the T17, we get at least 5 divine an hour from it. So yeah, it's pretty easy to make currency with this. Yeah. Now, how much? All right. Next, the price of running the strategy. So if we look at the Scarabs, they're like 1 chaos each for every single one of them. So yeah, even below the chaos. So yeah, they're all super cheap, as you can see. Plus the um plus the abyss here, so for 4 chaos plus the map. But as I said earlier, you will over sustain maps, so you just have to have some at first, and then we'll be fine. You will over sustain them, and yeah. So like let's say maybe 5 chaos for the Scarabs plus another 4 chaos for the mapcraft and the map itself. So maybe like 15 chaos max per map. So yeah, it's a huge profit because you are barely investing anything into it, and you will get a bunch of stuff. Also, one thing worth noting, you will get a bunch of gold with this strategy, especially if you have rarity on your gear. Sadly, here I don't have rarity because I'm running like super special jewelry stuff. So I'm not actually scaling that gold that you can actually get from the horde chest, but this is something you could do. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, running this on a caster build is way better because of this caster mastery. 25% chance to open nearby chests when you cast a spell, meaning you will not have to manually click on the hordes whenever they spawn. So if you're a caster build, make sure you pick that up to save you some risk pain. So yeah, I had a blast running this strategy. I will keep the Atlas tree for a while for sure, probably until the end of the league because I really enjoy it. And also, I like the chances of getting a 6 modifier Abyss Jewel. Especially, I will probably be using some of them on my next build. And also, I like having some Surgeon Vice because we can craft them. And for the next video, it will be about crafting those builds. Hopefully this was helpful, and as always, take care guys.